Listen carefully. I need to ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever done something you regret? Something you buried so deep you almost convinced yourself it never happened? Maybe it was a lie. Maybe it was worse. And there's one person who knows. One person who was there. One person who promised to never tell. Your best friend. Now, imagine that person calling you after years of silence. Imagine them saying, "We need to talk about what we did." Tonight's story is about two best friends, Colette and Isadora. They've known each other since freshman year of college, 15 years of friendship, and one secret that's been eating them alive. Before we start, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because the Midnight Narrator tells stories that will haunt you, stories that make you question everything, and you won't want to miss a single one. Trust me, this is going to be a long night. This story is about how one terrible decision can poison everything that comes after, and about how some secrets don't stay buried, no matter how deep you dig. This is the Midnight Narrator. This is The Thing We Buried. Let's begin. Colette's phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Colette, it's me. The voice froze her blood. She hadn't heard it in 3 years. Isadora? We need to meet. Tomorrow. It's about... A pause. A breath. It's about Remy. Colette's hand tightened around the phone. That name. That fucking name. I can't talk about this on the phone, Isadora said. Meet me at Riverside Park, the Overlook, noon tomorrow. Isadora, we agreed. Someone knows, Colette. Isadora's voice cracked. Someone fucking knows. We need to talk, now. The line went dead. Colette sat in her darkened living room, phone still pressed to her ear, and felt 15 years of carefully constructed life begin to crumble. Remy Laurent. She hadn't let herself think that name in over a decade, but she'd never stopped seeing his face. Colette's about to find out who her best friend really is. And so are you.
Colette arrived early, parked at the far end of the lot, watched the overlook through her windshield. Riverside Park overlooked the gorge, 300-foot drop to the river below. Beautiful. Deadly. She remembered the first time she came here, freshman year of college, with Isadora. They'd hiked the trails, laughed, taken selfies at the edge. That was before Remy, before everything changed. At 12:03 p.m., a silver Honda pulled into the lot. Isadora got out. She looked terrible. Thin, gaunt, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. This wasn't the Isadora Colette remembered, confident, put together, always smiling. This Isadora looked haunted. Colette got out of her car. They stood 20 feet apart. "You look good," Isadora said. It sounded like an accusation. "You don't." Isadora laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, not all of us can just forget and move on." "I didn't forget." "Really? Because you got married, got the job, got the house, got the perfect fucking life." Isadora's voice rose. "While You disappeared," Colette said quietly. "You moved across the country. You stopped answering my calls. That was your choice." "Because I couldn't look at you." Isadora's eyes filled with tears. "Because every time I saw your face, I saw his." Silence. Colette felt the old weight rising. "Why am I here, Isadora?" Isadora pulled out her phone, pulled up an email, handed it to Colette. The email had no sender name, no subject line, just 3 sentences. "I know what you did to Remy Laurent. I know where you buried him. You have 7 days." Colette's hands shook. "When did you get this?" 3 days ago. Then yesterday, Isadora pulled up another email. 4 days left. Tell Colette or I will." Colette felt the world tilt. "Who sent these?" she whispered. "I don't know. I've tried tracing the email. It's a burner account. Untraceable." Isadora grabbed Colette's arm. "Someone knows. After 15 years, someone fucking knows." "That's impossible. We were careful. Were we?" Isadora's voice broke. "What if someone saw us? What if there were cameras? What if—" "Stop," Colette pulled away. "We need to think. Who would know?" "No one. We told no one." "His roommates?" "Reported him missing. Investigation went nowhere." "His family?" "Gave up after 2 years. There was a memorial service. We went, remember?" Colette remembered, standing in the back, watching Remy's mother cry, feeling like a monster. "So who?" Isadora pressed. "Who the fuck is doing this?" Colette's mind raced. 15 years. They'd been so careful. Unless... "Isadora, that night, after it happened, did you tell anyone? Anyone at all?" "No. Jesus, Colette, no. I'm not stupid." "Then this is a bluff. Someone's guessing." "For 3 days? Counting down? That's not a guess." Isadora's face twisted. "We need to go back." "What?" "To where we buried him. We need to make sure he's still there." "You're insane." "Am I? Because if someone found the body, we're done." Isadora grabbed Colette's shoulders. "But if he's still there, maybe we can figure out who's doing this. Maybe we can stop them." Colette wanted to say no, wanted to run, but Isadora was right. They needed to know. "Where?" Colette asked. "Blackwood Trail, same place." "When?" "Tonight, after dark." Colette closed her eyes. 15 years of running, and she was going back. "Okay," she whispered. "Tonight."
You need to understand what happened 15 years ago. How 2 normal college girls became this. 15 years ago, spring semester, sophomore year. Colette and Isadora were inseparable. Roommates, best friends. They did everything together, including parties. The party was at an off-campus house. Cheap beer, loud music, too many people. Remy Laurent was there. Junior, pre-med, French exchange student with an accent that made half the campus melt. He'd been flirting with Isadora for weeks. She'd been resisting. That night, she didn't resist. Colette watched them dance, watched Isadora laugh, watched Remy's hands on her waist. She should have been happy for her friend. She wasn't. Because Colette had a secret, one she'd never told Isadora. She'd hooked up with Remy the previous semester, once, at a different party. They'd been drunk. It had been a mistake. Remy had ghosted her after. Colette had never told Isadora because it was humiliating, because Remy had made it clear he wasn't interested, because it was easier to pretend it never happened. But watching him with Isadora made her stomach turn. Around midnight, Isadora pulled Colette aside. "I'm going to go for a walk with Remy. Is that okay?" "Where?" "The trails by the park. He wants to show me the overlook, under the stars." Isadora giggled. She was tipsy. "Isn't that romantic?" "Isadora, you barely know him." "That's why I want you to come with us. Safety in numbers, right?" Colette didn't want to go. Every instinct screamed to say no. But Isadora was her best friend, and she looked so happy. "Okay," Colette said. "I'll come." The 3 of them left together. Remy drove. Colette sat in the back, watching Isadora in the passenger seat, laughing at Remy's jokes. They parked at Riverside Park, started hiking the trail toward the overlook. It was dark, the kind of dark where you can barely see your hand in front of your face. Remy had a flashlight. Colette used her phone. About half a mile in, Remy stopped. "Hey, Colette, can I talk to you for a second, privately?" Isadora looked confused. "Why?" "Just something I need to clear up with her, about a class." Remy's smile was easy, charming. "You go ahead, we'll catch up." Isadora hesitated. but she kept walking. Colette stood alone with Remy in the dark woods. "What do you want?" she asked. "I want to know why you've been avoiding me." "I haven't." "Bullshit. Ever since that night last semester, you pretended I don't exist." Colette's face burned. "You ghosted me. You made it clear you weren't interested. Because you told everyone I was bad in bed. Half the campus thinks I can't get it up. Do you know how humiliating that is? I never... Don't fucking lie to me. I know it was you, and now you're trying to ruin things with Isadora, too." "That's insane. I haven't said anything to her." "Then why has she been weird all week, asking questions about my history?" Colette's blood ran cold. "I didn't tell her, I swear." "You know what I think?" Remy moved closer, too close. "I think you're jealous. I think you want me to yourself, and I think you need to learn to keep your fucking mouth shut." He grabbed her arm. Colette yanked away. "Don't touch me." "Or what? You'll tell more lies? Ruin my reputation even more? You're a pathetic—" "Get away from her!" Isadora crashed through the trees. Her face was furious. "Isadora," Remy started. "I heard everything, you asshole. You asshole!" Isadora shoved him hard. "Jesus, calm down. You hooked up with my best friend, and then you, harassed her? It wasn't like that. Get away from us!" Isadora shoved him again. This time, Remy's foot caught on a root. He fell backward, onto the rocks. There was a sound, a terrible, wet, cracking sound. Remy lay still. For a moment, no one moved. Then Colette rushed forward, knelt down, checked his pulse. Nothing. "Oh my God," Isadora whispered. "Oh my God, oh my God." "He's dead," Colette said. Her voice sounded far away, detached. "Isadora, he's dead." "I didn't mean. I just pushed him. I didn't—" Colette's mind raced. Remy was dead. They were in the middle of the woods, alone. If they called the police, Isadora would go to jail. Manslaughter at minimum. Her life would be over. Colette's life would be over too. She'd be questioned, investigated. Everything would come out. "We need to hide him," Colette heard herself say. "What?" "We need to hide the body, make it look like he ran away." "Colette, we can't." "Isadora, listen to me." Colette grabbed her face. "If we call the police, your life is over. Over. This was an accident. You were defending me, but no one will believe that. No one saw what happened. They'll say you murdered him." "I didn't." "I know, but that's what they'll say. We need to hide the body, now." Isadora stared at her, tears streaming down her face. Then she nodded. They dragged Remy deeper into the woods, found a ravine, spent 3 hours digging with their bare hands, rocks, sticks, anything they could find. They buried him, covered the grave with rocks and leaves and dirt, made sure no one would ever find him. Then they walked back to the car, drove back to campus, went to their dorm, and they never talked about it again.
They're criminals, but one bad decision separates them from you. Colette and Isadora met at the Blackwood Trail parking lot at 10 p.m. The trail had been closed for years, budget cuts, but the gate was easy to bypass. They walked in silence, 2 flashlights cutting through darkness. The woods looked different, older, more overgrown, but Colette remembered the way. "How far?" Isadora whispered. "Maybe a mile off the main trail." After 20 minutes, Colette's flashlight caught something. Footprints in the mud, fresh,
leading deeper into the woods. She stopped. "Colette?" Isadora asked. "What?" "Someone's been here. Recently." They followed the footprints, hearts pounding. 10 minutes later, Isadora grabbed Colette's arm. "Look!" A broken branch, snapped clean, still green inside, not from weather or animals. Someone had walked through here within the last day or two. They kept going, slowly, every sound amplified, every shadow a threat. Then Colette heard it, a whisper, faint, behind them. She spun around, flashlight sweeping. Nothing. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "Hear what?" "A voice. Colette shook her head. "Never mind, let's keep going." But the whisper came again, closer this time. "You came back." Both women froze. "Who's there?" Isadora called out, her voice cracked. Silence. Then laughter, quiet, distant, coming from multiple directions at once. "We need to leave," Colette said. "Now!" "No, we're close. I can feel it." Isadora pushed forward. "We need to know if he's still there." They walked faster, the trail narrowing, the trees pressing in. Finally, Colette stopped. "Here." The ravine was still there, deeper than she remembered, darker. "You sure?" Isadora asked. "I'm sure." They climbed down carefully. Colette's flashlight swept across the ground. There. But something was wrong. The depression in the earth was there, the rocks scattered around it, but the dirt looked disturbed, fresher than it should be after 15 years, like someone had been digging, recently. "Colette," Isadora whispered, "look at this." She pointed to the edge of the gravesite, a shovel mark, clear as day, fresh. "Someone's been here," Colette breathed. "Someone's been digging." "Do you think they found him?" "We have to check." They started moving rocks, clearing debris. The ground was hard, packed. Colette's hands were bleeding by the time they hit something solid. Not dirt. Fabric. She froze. "Isadora!" They dug faster, uncovered a corner of what used to be a jacket, and underneath, bones, white, stark, unmistakable. Remy Laurent was still here, still exactly where they'd left him. Isadora started crying. "He's here! He's still here!" Colette felt relief and horror washing over her. "Which means whoever's sending those emails doesn't actually know where he is. They're bluffing. Then how do they know about him at all?" Good question. Colette was about to answer when she heard it. A sound. Footsteps. Someone was coming down the trail. "Turn off your flashlight," Colette hissed. They went dark, crouched behind trees. The footsteps got closer. A flashlight beam swept through the woods. Then a voice. "Colette, Isadora, I know you're here." Colette's blood turned to ice. She knew that voice. Isadora grabbed her arm, whispered, "Who's that?" The figure stepped into the ravine, shined their flashlight directly on the grave, on them. Colette saw the face, and her world shattered. It was Bastien Moreau, Remy's roommate from college. "Hey, guys. Long time no see." "Bastien," Colette breathed. "How did you—" "How did I know?" Bastien smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "I've always known, Colette, since the beginning." Isadora stood up slowly. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Bastien pulled a notebook from his jacket, old, worn, pages and pages of handwritten notes, dates, times, observations. He flipped a page. March 15th, 2010. Remy leaves party with Isadora Torres and Colette Beaumont, 11:47 p.m.
Says they're going to Riverside Park. Seems excited. He flipped a page. March 16th, 2010. 6 a.m. Remy hasn't returned. Car found at Riverside Park. Empty. Police called. Another page. March 17th, 2010. Questioned Colette and Isadora. They claim they went home early, left Remy at the Overlook, said he wanted to stay and watch the sunrise. They're lying. I can see it in their eyes. Bastien looked up. I've been documenting everything for 15 years. Every inconsistency, every lie, every moment you two pretended to be normal people. Why? Why didn't you tell the police? Bastien's expression cracked. Because I almost did. So many times. He flipped to a different section. The handwriting here was messier, more desperate. June 3rd, 2012. 2 years since Remy disappeared. His mother died today. Heart attack. The grief killed her. I should have told them where he is. I should have. But I can't, because if I tell, Colette and Isadora go to prison. And maybe they don't deserve that. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe Remy had it coming. He looked at them, tears in his eyes. I told myself that for years, that Remy was aggressive, that he harassed Colette, that Isadora was defending her, that maybe he deserved what happened. He did, Isadora said quietly. He grabbed Colette. He threatened her. I was protecting her. I know, Bastien shouted. His voice echoed through the ravine. I know, and it's been killing me, because knowing and doing nothing makes me just as guilty as you. He pulled out more pages. These were from recent years. October 8th, 2019. Saw Colette today. She's married now. Looks happy. She was laughing with her husband at a coffee shop. She's built a whole life on top of Remy's grave, and I let her. December 25th, 2022. Christmas. Isadora posted on social media for the first time in years. She looks miserable. The guilt is eating her alive. Good. At least one of them suffers. April 2nd, 2024. I lost my job today. They said I was distracted, not present. How can I be present when I'm carrying this? How can I focus on anything when I know what happened and did nothing? Bastien closed the notebook. Do you know what it's like, watching Remy's family suffer? Watching his little sister post missing flyers on Facebook every year on his birthday? Watching you two just live your lives? We didn't just live, Isadora said. Her voice broke. I haven't had a good night's sleep in 15 years. I can't hold a relationship. I can't hold a job. The guilt is nothing compared to what Remy's family feels. Bastien's hands shook. They don't even have a body to bury. They had a memorial service with an empty casket. So why now? Colette asked. Why send those emails? Why bring us here? Because I can't do this anymore. Bastien pulled his phone, pressed record. I want the truth, on camera. I want you to confess what happened that night, every detail. And then, he paused, then you're going to turn yourselves in. We can't, Colette said. Our lives are built on a lie. Bastien's voice hardened. Remy died, his family mourned, and you two got to keep breathing. That's not fair. That's not justice. And if we refuse? Colette asked. Bastien held up the phone. Then I send this video to the police, along with 15 years of documentation, and you go to prison for murder and obstruction. Your choice. Isadora looked at Colette. Colette looked back. 15 years of running had finally caught up. Okay, Colette said quietly. We'll tell you everything. She started talking about the party,
about Remy's harassment, about the walk in the woods, about the confrontation, about Isadora pushing Remy, about the fall, about the decision to hide the body. All of it. When she finished, Bastien stopped recording.
"Thank you," he said. Then he put the phone in his pocket and pulled out a gun. "Now we're going to take care of this the right way." Colette's stomach dropped. "Bastien, what are you—" "I lied," Bastien said simply. "I don't want you to turn yourselves in. I want you dead." Bastien didn't stumble onto this truth. He watched, he waited, and now he's going to finish what Remy started. "Bastien, please," Isadora begged. "Do you know why I didn't tell the police?" Bastien asked, conversationally, like he was discussing the weather. "It wasn't mercy. It was because I wanted to handle this myself." "Handle what?" Colette asked. "Justice. Real justice. Not the kind you get in a courtroom. The kind where people who take lives, even accidentally, pay with their own." "You're insane," Isadora whispered. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm the only sane one here. You two have been walking around free for 15 years while Remy's bones rotted. That's insane." Bastien gestured to the grave. "Get in." "What?" "You heard me. Get in the grave, right next to Remy. Poetic, don't you think?" Colette's mind raced. They were in the middle of the woods. No one knew they were here. Bastien had a gun. There was no way out. Unless— "Bastien," Colette said carefully, "if you kill us, you're just like us, a murderer. Is that really what Remy would want?" Bastien laughed. "Nice try, but Remy's not here to want anything, because you killed him." "It was an accident." "I don't care," Bastien screamed. The gun shook in his hand. "I've spent 15 years watching you live your lives. Colette, you got married. You have a job you love. You smile in pictures. And Isadora, even though you've been miserable, at least you're alive." "So this is about revenge," Colette said. "This is about balance, about making things right. Remy's in the ground. Now you will be too." Isadora suddenly lunged at Bastien. The gun went off. The sound didn't echo like in movies. It thudded, heavy, final. Isadora crumpled to the ground. "No!" Colette screamed. She dropped beside her friend. Blood spread across Isadora's chest. Too much blood. "Colette," Isadora gasped. "I'm sorry. Don't talk. Just hold on. I've been so scared for so long. I'm sorry I couldn't be strong like you. You are strong. You saved me that night. You—" "Get away from her," Bastien said coldly. Colette looked up at him, at the gun pointed at her head. "Do it," Colette said. "Pull the trigger, because you're right. We killed Remy. We buried him. We've been lying for 15 years. So do it. End it." Bastien's finger tightened on the trigger. Then, a voice from the darkness. "Police, drop the weapon." Flashlights exploded around them, dozens of them. Police poured into the ravine, guns drawn. "Drop it now!" Bastien's face went slack with shock. The gun fell from his hand. Officers rushed forward, tackled Bastien to the ground, cuffed him. Colette barely registered it. She was still holding Isadora. "Stay with me," Colette whispered. "Please stay with me." A paramedic pushed Colette aside, started working on Isadora. A detective knelt next to Colette, older woman, kind eyes. "Colette Beaumont?" the detective asked numbly. Colette nodded. "We've been monitoring Bastien Moreau for 3 months, ever since he started researching how to acquire illegal firearms. We intercepted his emails to you and Miss Torres, tracked him here tonight." "How?" "He's been planning this for years, built an entire case file about you two, about Remy Laurent. He was obsessed. We heard everything, the confession, his intentions. You're going to have to come in for questioning, but—" She paused. "Given the circumstances, I don't think you'll face charges for Remy's death. It was clearly self-defense. But the cover-up—" "I know," Colette whispered. "The paramedics are taking your friend to the hospital. Critical condition, but she's got a chance." Colette watched them load Isadora onto a stretcher. watched them carry her out of the woods, watched them carefully uncover Remy Laurent's remains. After 15 years, the secret was finally out. Epilogue, 6 months later. Isadora survived, barely. They didn't face murder charges. The DA determined that Remy's death had been accidental, self-defense, but they were charged with obstruction of evidence, tampering with evidence, improper disposal of remains. They took plea deals. Colette got 2 years probation. Isadora got 1 year. Light sentences, considering, but the real punishment wasn't legal. Colette, 11:47 p.m., Tuesday. The diner was nearly empty. 3rd shift. Colette wiped down table 7 for the 4th time. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Murderer. She deleted it. The 15th one this week. Through the window, a police car rolled past, slow. The officer inside looked at her. She looked away. Her reflection stared back from the dark glass, tired, hollow, a stranger wearing her face. She used to be an architect, used to design buildings, used to create things. Now she poured coffee for truckers who didn't tip and avoided eye contact with everyone. The bell above the door chimed. A couple walked in, young, laughing. The girl leaned into the boy's shoulder, happy. Colette looked away. She'd never laugh like that again. In the back kitchen, the line cook, Miguel, kind eyes, didn't ask questions, was listening to the news on his phone. Memorial service held today for Remy Laurent, whose remains were discovered 6 months ago after... Colette dropped a plate. It shattered. Miguel turned off the radio. "You okay, Colette?" She stared at the broken pieces on the floor. "Yeah," she whispered. "I'm okay." She wasn't. Isadora, 3:42 p.m. Sunday. Isadora stood at her apartment window, 3rd floor. She'd moved here after the trial, somewhere no one knew her name. Her cane leaned against the wall. She didn't need it today. The pain was manageable. Outside, families walked by, kids on bikes, dogs on leashes, normal life. She watched a father teaching his daughter to ride without training wheels. The girl wobbled, fell. The father caught her. They both laughed. Her hand went to her chest, to the scar. She'd been in physical therapy for 4 months. The bullet had collapsed her lung, shattered a rib. She'd died twice on the operating table. Sometimes she wished they'd let her stay dead. Her phone sat on the table, silent. It had been silent for 6 months. No calls, no texts, no friends. Colette hadn't reached out, not once. Isadora didn't blame her. What was there to say? Sorry I ruined your life by killing someone defending you? Sorry the secret destroyed us both? Sorry we can't even look at each other anymore? On her laptop, she had a document open, a letter she'd been writing for weeks. Dear Remy's family. She'd gotten that far, no further. What do you say to the people whose lives you destroyed? I killed your son, brother, but it was an accident, so maybe forgive me? There were no words. There would never be words. She closed the laptop, looked out the window. The father and daughter were gone now. The street was empty, just like her life. Remy's sister, 2 p.m., memorial service. Celine Laurent stood at the podium, 24 now. She'd been 9 when Remy disappeared. The church was full. Friends, family, people who'd known Remy, people who'd spent 15 years hoping he'd come home. Now he had, in a casket. Celine looked at her notes, words she'd written and rewritten 100 times. My brother Remy was... Her voice cracked. She started again. My brother was my hero. When I was little, he used to carry me on his shoulders so I could see the stars better. He said that's where we came from, stardust. She paused, wiped her eyes. For 15 years, I looked for him. I made missing posters. I searched social media. I told myself he was out there somewhere, living a new life, happy. Her hands tightened on the podium. I was wrong. He was in the ground. He'd been there the whole time, while I was searching, while my mother died believing he'd abandoned us, while our family fell apart. Her voice hardened.
2 women put him there. 2 women who knew what they'd done and said nothing. They let us suffer. They let us hope. In the back row, partially hidden, a reporter scribbled notes. Tomorrow's headline would read, "Sister of buried man condemns murderers. They stole his life and our grief." Celine looked at Remy's photo, young, smiling, 21 forever. "I forgive them," she said quietly, "not because they deserve it, but because carrying hate would make me just like them, burying something dark and letting it poison everything." She stepped down. The casket, finally full, finally real, waited at the front. After 15 years, Remy Laurent could finally rest. His family never would.
3 months after the trial, Colette saw her. Grocery store, aisle 7, frozen foods. Isadora stood 10 feet away, leaning on her cane, staring at a bag of frozen peas like it held the secrets of the universe. Colette's breath caught. For a moment she couldn't move, couldn't think. 15 years of friendship, 15 years of secrets, and now, nothing. Isadora looked up. Their eyes met. Colette opened her mouth. To say what? "I'm sorry? I miss you? I wish things were different?" But Isadora's face, it wasn't angry, wasn't hurt. It was empty, like looking at a stranger. Isadora looked away first, put the peas back, turned her cart around, walked the other direction. Colette stood there, frozen, watching her best friend disappear down the cereal aisle. She should have followed, should have said something, anything. But what do you say to someone you destroyed while they were trying to save you? Colette left her cart in the aisle, walked out to her car, sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes with her phone in her hand. Isadora's number still in her contacts, still right there. Her thumb hovered over the call button, almost pressed it. Almost. But some gaps are too wide to cross. Some friendships don't survive the truth. She put the phone down, drove home, never went back to that grocery store. They never spoke again. The friendship that survived 15 years of secrecy couldn't survive the light. And in the darkness of their separate lives, they both carried the same weight. They'd buried Remy, but what they'd really buried was themselves. Colette and Isadora thought they'd buried Remy Laurent. What they actually buried was themselves. Now, let me ask you something. How well do you really know your best friend? Colette and Isadora were normal people. They made one terrible decision in a moment of panic, and it destroyed everything. Here's what you need to understand. Secrets demand payment, whether you confess or they claw their way out on their own. The ground doesn't keep what you bury, not forever. And the people closest to you, the ones who know your darkest moments, they can save you or destroy you. Sometimes they do both. If you're carrying something heavy tonight, something you've never told anyone, just know this: it's already killing you. Slowly, quietly, and one day it won't stay buried anymore. If this story disturbed you, good. Hit that like button, share it, let people know what the Midnight Narrator is about, and subscribe, because next week I've got another story that will make you question everything you think you know about the people you trust. Sleep well, listeners. Or don't. Maybe stay up tonight thinking about the secrets your best friend is keeping. Maybe wonder what they do to protect them. This is the Midnight Narrator. The scariest monsters aren't the ones in the dark. They're the ones who know where you buried the bodies. Sweet dreams.